want to, dude. I don't.
But
Fuck
you know you have to be accurate.
Fuck you, man. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, bitch. Welcome to Nerd Taku Podcast, where we watch it so you don't have to. I'm your host, Eli. With me is my co-host, Ben.
Hello, listeners. Happy to be here.
This week, we're reviewing the 2014 sci-fi drama thriller, Ex Machina. Spoiler warnings ahead. Ben, as always, are there spoilers?
Most definitely.
Director, Alex Garland. Main cast, Alicia Vikander, Domhnall Gleeson, Oscar Isaac. Ben, this sci-fi thriller, I was looking for the thrill, but I don't think I ever got it, to be totally frank. I kind of felt like it fell a little flat. I think the film was made in an era where people thought AI was never going to be a thing. It was never going to happen in our lifetime. People were just like, oh, this is never going to happen. Welcome to reality. AI is slowly taking over our lives. When you walked into this film, what were your main impressions on it? Like, what were you hoping this was going to bring to the table?
I don't even know what I was hoping. I saw the trailer and I was like, okay, I'm not sure what this is leading up to other than another AI takeover like iRobot pretty much. So we'll see what happens. And like you said, the thriller never happened. I mean, the animation, the CGI for Ava was pretty good, but overall it fell flat. I was pretty disappointed.
I felt this whole story was just watching futuristic The Room, that movie from the 1940s, where they're all trying to figure out who the murderer was or something like that. It felt like that. It felt like I was just in a more modernized, futuristic The Room.
I can see that. Definitely see that.
My overall is a 7.25 for this film.
Whew, 1 whole point more than me. I gave it a 6.25.
To be honest, I'm feeling it's a little generous. It's a little bit generous there. The synopsis for this film is a young programmer is selected to participate in a groundbreaking experiment in synthetic intelligence by evaluating the human qualities of a highly advanced humanoid AI. Yeah, no, this film, I don't know, it rubbed me the wrong way. It just didn't give me that thriller sci-fi. It gave me the sci-fi, of course. The sci-fi was there. Human AI, that scares the living turd out of me. Like, if that ever comes to be like 100% real thing. I wasn't like really, oh my gosh, like edge of your seat. I was never feeling that.
Yeah, I agree. There is a fear of AI, but for the most part, there was nothing that really brought my attention to the screen. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Let's start with plot.
0.75.
I gave it a 0.75. The plot was very, very simple. It was about this guy, who, like the synopsis said, a young programmer who won. He won a contest to do this synthetic intelligence and meet the guy who is basically his boss, who basically made the internet, the biggest web searcher, basically Google, without saying Google. And he finds out and uncovers the truth of the fact that this guy is making AI humanoids in his basement, and he's trying to not fuck it, like legit trying to not fuck this robot, because halfway through you find out that Nathan, the guy who's his boss, basically tells him you can fuck this robot and be okay with it. It's like, I don't need to know that. I don't need to know that you can fuck this robot.
Well,
Thank you.
Nathan has like three others that he does that with, so
3 or 4, yeah. The plot's simple. Caleb, the guy who won, is trying to figure out how to let her free. But before, he's learning more and more about this robot, and then realizes this guy is messed up. And the robot Ava, when the power goes out, that's the only time he can actually talk to her privately. And they discover Caleb discovers that Nathan is a sociopath, basically insane, and doesn't care about anything but himself. He's a very narcissistic person. So Caleb is trying to figure out how to escape and get this humanoid robot Ava out and let the world know what is going on. But that ending, I wasn't expecting it. Like, for real, I was not expecting that ending of Ava leaving like that. I thought Caleb was going to come along, but no. And I was like, wow, girl power. But I was like, damn. And then just to have the audacity to cut the power so he dies in there. Oh, what a bitch. But no, what were your thoughts on the plot?
Honestly, I feel like giving it a 0.75 was very generous.
Didn't you hear me grasping for straws?
Right? You're trying to find something to say. Exactly. Yeah, the synopsis pretty much tells you what the story is. For the first 20 to 40 minutes of this film, it is so slow moving. It was so hard for me to keep my attention on the screen. Then Caleb gets cut, and you're thinking, what the hell? Is Nate actually testing Caleb as an AI? Because the way he gets cut, it looks like he's got robotic features.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. You find out later. But I was trying to process this, and I'm like, what the fuck? Is Caleb actually an AI? But no, he's not. He's human. Nathan's death was probably my favorite part because that guy was fucking crazy.
That was anticlimactic. It was like, oh, okay. Silent stab.
Right. I literally put that in here. I was like, enjoyed the death of Nathan, not necessarily because he died, which, was a good thing too, because he was a sociopathic
douchebag
ding dong. But the way he was stabbed and didn't instantly die, it took time, because that is what happens in real life. Hollywood always portrays, oh, I'm stabbed, I'm dead, instantly. No. You get stabbed, doesn't matter where you're stabbed, it's going to take time to die. Even if you're stabbed in the artery, it still takes 2 to 3 minutes to bleed out. So the way that they portrayed his death was accurate. He got stabbed, slowly went down, and it took time for him to die. Enough time for her to talk to him and be like, yeah, fuck you, bitch. I just did that to you, I did not like the way they chose to end this. Caleb helped Ava the entire time to get her out. And then she turns around and locks him in the fucking facility while she walks out, takes a helicopter away that Caleb was supposed to take. That was supposed to be his ride out. She locks him in the fucking facility to die, even though he spent all this fucking time trying to get her out. She would not have been able to get out without Caleb. That's what he did for her, and she still left him. Just left him to die. What the fuck? I did not like the ending.
It was annoying. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was like, why didn't you take him? It kind of was a little more shell shocking. Like, why'd you leave him? Like, that's
right.
that's so fucked up. This guy through the whole story was like, I want to get you out because I really like you. But then all of a sudden you're like, nah, bitch, I'm gonna be my own woman and live my own life. It's like, no, what the fuck?
What the fuck did Caleb ever do to Ava? Nothing except help.
I know I think it was the fact that she knew that he was just there for like helping, but then she didn't understand that he had feelings. I don't think he ever fully admitted it, because remember that scene where they cut out where he's like, are you falling in love with me? And they cut out and they like go to a different scene. It's like, seriously, like, don't cut.
Even so, she knew that Caleb is the one who helped her get out, and she still fucked him over.
My plot went down to a 0.5. I'm frustrated.
And mine also is dropping to a 0.5.
God damn it.
Very, very frustrated with this ending. Very frustrated with the story altogether. Nathan was a creep. Caleb was an idiot. Ava was a bitch.
Exactly.
This whole story was just, come on, let's just 40 fucking minutes to get to any intensity or any excitement in this film, especially when the film is only
an hour and like 50,
an hour and
50 minutes.
yeah, just under 2 hours. Really?
Yeah.
Half of that fucking time for anything exciting to happen? No thanks.
Acting.
0.75.
I'm giving it a 0.75, but I don't know if it's going to stay a 0.75, to be honest.
Here's why I gave it a 0.75.
Okay, I want to hear it. Let's hear this.
Alicia playing Ava as an AI, no emotion, no stress, no human anything in her system. That has got to be difficult to do. Obviously, Alicia is human. She had to cut her emotions completely to play this part. Done super well. Oscar Isaac playing Nathan, the sociopath. Creepy ass motherfucker. Played it beautifully. Every time I saw Nathan on screen, it was absolutely cringeworthy. You could see the psychopathic sociopath staring you in the soul. It was epic. Caleb playing the nonchalant, I just want to help this girl. I'm starting to fall in love with an AI. Done wonderfully. The three main cast members really pulled off the roles they were given. The way they connected and bounced their auras off each other, and Nathan being a creep portrayed on the screen continuously throughout. At first, he doesn't seem that bad, and then as you go throughout the film, he gets worse and worse and worse because he's a secluded psychopath in this hundreds of thousands of acres of his land. Just done really well. The reason that it dropped to a 0.75 was mostly because Nathan was very cringeworthy. I didn't like his character. The acting was amazing, but the character hurt. And let's be honest, Donald played Caleb really well. The way that his nonchalant, kind of not really knowing what's going on character was played and portrayed was done well, but also felt kind of forced. I don't think that he was quite comfortable in his character as Caleb. But Alicia did fucking fantastic. There was no human emotion. I can't stress that enough. No human emotion in Ava, in this character at all. Even when she locked him in the facility, turned off the power, there was no smile. There was no explanation as to what she did. There was nothing. She just locked him in, walked out the door, walked to the helicopter, took off. Beautifully done. It's just Caleb and Nathan's character that you can't really connect with. I mean, unless you really like cringy, scary, crazy psychopaths. But for the most part, yeah, I had to drop it just because you can't really connect with Caleb most of the time.
Ava was the best character in this story, hands down. And Alicia did a phenomenal job on portraying what AI should be, is just a toneless person who is very nice and very friendly, but very tone deaf, doesn't understand social cues. 100%. It was great. She did a phenomenal job. Oscar Isaac, dude, that was creepy. It was uncomfortable. It to the point where I felt like the characters of Caleb and Nathan, it was just an uncomfortable scene of seeing these two on screen. It felt like these two should never been together. It was so just cringeworthy. But these guys tried the best of their ability to have these characters portrayed as what they thought the character should be. I just didn't like it. It was uncomfortable, like to the point where I'm like, wow, this is cringe. Like I was cringing every time I saw Nathan and Caleb on the screen, like intellectually talking about Ava. I'm like, guys, this is stop. Even the scene where they're talking about this, you can have sex with a robot. I'm like, please stop. You two. It's uncomfortable. It feels like someone's talking to their dad about the first time they had sex. It was just so cringy. And then at the end, you see Caleb fully losing his mind, believing he may be AI, cutting his arm, and I'm just like, okay. Gleason and Oscar Isaac did a really good job working with the character they had. But it's nothing to say, oh, Oscar worthy. It's not the greatest.
I agree. Well put.
Character development.
0.5.
Man, we're on the streak today. 0.5. Ava's the best character. Like I said in the acting, Ava is the best character, but there's no development. Like Ava probably had development because she realized she leaves and she wants to be alone. She doesn't want anyone. She said, "Screw you two." She murdered someone. She murdered her father in the sense of Nathan was the creator, but there was no development beyond that. Yeah, Caleb had some development trying to get Ava out, but really, Nathan was just a drunk, an alcoholic with the money to make whatever he wanted. And then you saw Caleb going down the rabbit hole of losing his sanity, and then he's trying to get this girl out. And then, like, Ava decided to flip 180 and go, okay, later. Bye, Caleb. It's like, what the fuck? The development was so skewed and, like, all skiddity wampus that, like, the development couldn't be consistent and clean. I just couldn't see a good path of development in this whole film.
So I actually have to drop mine to 0.25 because I was reading over my notes and I realized the only development in this film was through Caleb. Caleb went in not knowing what the project was. When he learned what it is, he was very happy to help. He was super excited. Then as time went on, even though Ava was playing him, he had no idea that that's what she was doing. He genuinely wanted to help her. He wanted to help her get out. He fell for her and then was betrayed. But in the process of wanting to help her, he realized that he had to do something about Nathan. He had to kill Nathan because Nathan was a psychopath. Nate had no development, nor digression. He was a constant entity that had one goal throughout the film. He never wavered from that goal. He wanted AI to be seen by the world, but he had to make it perfect. And so he went through model after model after model, trying to make the perfect AI. But in this process, he became psychotic. But he was psychotic before Caleb even got there. So from the start to the finish of the film, it was a constant one levelness, just wanting to get the perfect AI and by any means necessary. Ava was basically the same as Nate. Her character neither developed nor digressed. All she wanted was one ultimate goal: to get the fuck out. She didn't care how. She didn't care who she had to manipulate. She didn't care what she had to do. She wanted Nate gone so she could get out. And she manipulated Caleb in a way to be able to get out, take care of Nate, then ends up flipping on Caleb, trapping him and getting out. But because she has no emotion and she's AI, there's no way for her to actually develop. She's constant throughout. One goal: get out and live my life how I want to live it. She did, but there was no development. So really the only one that had any development was Caleb, because he realized he had feelings for Ava and wanted to get her out. Until she trapped him in the room and he said some choice words.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that mm, I think the reason why Ava realized that she could do that to Caleb and there would be no repercussion was the fact that remember when she tried to get to know him a little bit, like, tell me about yourself. And he said, I have no siblings. I live in Long Island. I live 5 minutes away from work and 5 minutes away from the beach. And then you realize his parents died when he was 15. So she used that as a way of, oh, so no one's going to care about you if you're stuck here. No one's going to remember you. You're a nothing.
It's probably very true, but still,
It's
like
fucked.
I said, any way she was gonna get out, and that was her goal from even before Caleb showed up.
I think honestly, she just looked at that as, ooh, golden opportunity. No one's going to report this. Cool. No one's going to care.
It's possible.
Sound and music.
0.25.
I gave it a 0.5. First 40 minutes. I'm not going to lie to you. Where was the music? Where
There
was
wasn't
anything?
any.
The thing that got me was like when Caleb got to the facility and he met Nathan for the first time. I'm like, guys, put something in there. It felt like I was at a job interview. Come on, guys. And then near the end, the music picked up and it was nice, but it wasn't outstanding and it wasn't amazing. I couldn't give it a 0.75. Heck, the 0.5 is being generous, to be honest. And I think nothing was there and nothing really stood out. Nothing was really captivating.
I even feel like my 0.25 was generous. There was just a very big lack in the music department. There was nothing to pull you in, even in intense scenes. Lights go out, power goes out for them to talk, fighting in the hallway. Nothing in that music department pulled me in. The only good music that I found was in the beginning when he's flying towards the facility. Other than that, there was nothing. It was dull. Movies need music. Music captivates your audience. It pulls you in, especially when you're setting something up like fighting in the fucking hallway. Use something there, but there wasn't anything there. There was slight, intense something, but it wasn't enough to captivate and pull you into this scene that's going on. I just don't understand. They could have done so much, and it was lackluster. The score was terrible.
For being a thriller, I was expecting more intense music because that's how you captivate your audience in most thrillers, right?
Exactly.
Where you use the music to like intensify the scene and you could go dun. It's like in the movie 1917 when we talked about the moment when they're like getting over almost to the trench of the Germans and they dun, and just like there's nothing.
Then it
And, like,
cuts off.
it cuts off. There's no build up there. There's nothing build up like that. So that's why I'm just gonna give it the 0.5 to be generous.
You just don't want to change your scores.
I don't want to, dude. I don't.
But
Fuck
you know you have to be accurate.
Fuck you, man. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, bitch. Cinematography.
That one got a 1.
I gave it a 0.75. The lighting was kind of bad in some scenes. So there's a couple scenes where Nathan and Caleb are talking on the bed in one of the rooms, and the sun is so bright that it almost whitens Caleb and Nathan. It almost whitens their faces a little too much to where the shot looks a little bit like an iPhone. And I could not stand that. I'm like, if you guys are going to be making this film in a basement area, if you're going to have any sun, make sure the sun doesn't whiten you guys. It's just so amateur. Like, come on, guys. This film was nominated for Oscars. And they consider that good? No, that was really not worth the shot takes. Yeah, they had some cool shots here and there, but I felt like the tones of the red when the building red came on when the power went out. I thought the red almost overtook the scenes in their shots. So I got to give it the 0.75. It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't groundbreaking at all to me.
All right, you son of a bitch. I got to change mine to a 0.75 because the lighting is a problem. The reason that it's going to stay at 0.75 is because the bodywork of Ava, beautiful, absolutely impressive. That CGI, amazing. It made her, I don't know, it was just the robotic look of the wires being covered in this synthetic plasticky skin. I don't with just her face being the what actually looked like a person's face, but the body was this wiring type something. I don't even know, but it was phenomenal. It was really well done. CGI perfect in this film, but the lighting you mentioned, I agree, it was very amateur, very meh. So I'm dropping it to a 0.75, you son of a bitch.
The more I think about the cinematography in this film, the more I realize that they made a film that trying to get lighting in this whole project would have been a real challenge because it's just bedrooms and hallways and a laboratory. Like it's a challenge by itself.
Agreed.
So not bad, but it's not great.
I was just so captivated by the look of Ava that I didn't really pay attention to anything else. But you explaining it and me remembering watching it, I have to agree the lighting was meh.
Meh. Directing.
I did give that a 1.
I gave it a 1 as well. I did see his vision. I did see what he was going for. And I did really talking about AI in 2014 is a very hard topic. And writing about it must have been intense to think about because you're trying to show something that not a lot of people have talked about. And I think the direction he went wasn't the greatest, but I do see where he was going with artificial intelligence. And the story was very interesting, and I liked his approach towards it. Like it was creative, but the execution was just a little flat. But that's due to other people. So
I liked that he knew what he wanted to deliver through this vision in his mind. It's a great original idea for an AI created by man to be humanoid, like a homunculus, pretty much.
exactly.
And I think the way that he portrayed it was great, but the delivery was pretty lackluster. It was a great thought process, a great story. It could have been a 10 easily, but the way it was delivered wasn't quite to my liking. His vision was great. His directing of his characters were great, keeping Alicia completely emotionless and Oscar completely psychotic. And then Caleb just kind of nonchalantly cruising through trying to figure out how to get Ava out. I mean, it was done well. But the way that the way the story was delivered could have been better.
I agree. Attraction.
0.5.
Man, we're on the ball today. 0.5.
There wasn't a lot to it, unfortunately. There really wasn't.
Exactly.
The most attractive thing about this film was Ava's look.
That's very true.
You're in this facility, basement facility for fuck's sakes. No lighting. Caleb is talking to Ava most of the time. Pans to Nathan. He's a crazy psychotic weirdo. Sure, there's some nudity but that's not enough to attract most audiences. I don't know. I'm just going to say I even think a 0.5 might be a little generous, but I'm going to keep it there because of how well Ava's body looked.
The 0.5 for me, I find the nudity thing just to be like a cash grab. If you have to use nudity to attract your audience, it's kind of flat in my opinion.
Exactly.
That's like this first season of Game of Thrones, throwing in nothing but porn and like medieval times. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's not going to grab my attention.
It's not just the first season, man. That's throughout the entire series.
If you look at the first season, that's the most they had. Throughout the series, there is a lot of nudity, but season 1, every episode was just porn, 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 porn. Like, let's just get a titty and a dick out. Like, damn.
Pretty much.
But like I said, that's not a cash grab in my eyes. I think it's very disappointing if you can't tell a story without showing nudity. But this is it's The Room. The Room is not a very attractive story either. It's basically two guys arguing about a murder, and they're going through this whole apartment just walking around. It's not that great of a story, but it could have done better. I found the awkwardness between the two to be just so like a repellent to watch it. It was just so uncomfortable. It just made me feel like, wow, I am watching two high schoolers debate about Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, it's cringy. And can we talk about liquid technology? How's that appealing? Like, I wasn't really awe-inspired when he was talking about, oh, the brain is all liquid, so it's liquid fiber or something. Like,
I had no idea what the hell was being said there.
yeah, he's shit talking out of his mouth at that point. So overall, I just got to give it got to keep that 0.5. Dialogue.
0.5.
Mine was a 0.7. Mine, I gave it a 1 because I love the intellectual talking, but I'm bringing it down to a 0.5 because honestly, after the intellectual bullshit and what we've been talking through this whole episode, yeah, no, I'm not keeping it at no, I couldn't justify it. This really, I liked the conversation between Caleb and Ava. I really did like those one-on-ones. They were really good. I thought it was very nice to see it. And I loved each time they had a session. It was like Ava, session 1, Ava, session 2. And like you just heard them talking and trying to communicate. And it was really nice. But I did not at all like the interaction dialogue with Nathan and Caleb. It's awful to say that your two main guys, I hated. The chemistry in their dialogue was just so rough. A narcissist with an innocent child who never experienced the real world. Bam, mix it together. You got Ex Machina. The dialogue was very intellectually spoken, but it just sounded like fake sci-fi gibberish.
Agreed. I think that most of the dialogue just came off as someone putting fake scientific whatevers into a script and saying, hey, this will work. There is only one quote that I took from this film. It's when Nate says, one day the AIs are going to look back on us the same way we look at fossil skeletons in the plains of Africa. An upright ape living in dust with crude language and tools, all set for extinction. That I fully believe. The way AI technology is developing now, I don't think we're that far away from humanoid AIs. I really don't. And at that point, if it's like fucking Terminator, that quote makes sense. AIs will take over and we will be fossils.
Yeah.
That scares the shit out of me, dude.
Dude, AI scares the shit out of me in general. Like, just because people use it to make jokes and like write silly songs, nah. Saudi Arabia has their AI robot who says they will take over. It's unsettling to think about this film as a precursor to what today's society is.
Exactly. I'm just like, stop developing AI technology. Have you not seen Terminator? Do we all want to fucking die?
Why do you think I don't use AI in any of my editing? I don't know. I don't support that.
No, it freaks me the fuck out. I don't want anything to do with AIs.
No, like I even have an uncomfortable feeling talking to like Google.
Right?
Or like Siri and shit. Like, I don't fucking want Siri to know my favorite taste in music.
Anywho's it's way off topic. That line from the dialogue, that's why we went on that tangent there. But that was the one line that really stuck out to me. Other than that, it was just a bunch of stuff put in that made them sound smart, but I'm pretty sure is mostly made up for a sci-fi film. And they didn't really connect. Like, they didn't bounce off each other like other films. There was no witty banter or anything between any of them. So it was just lackluster.
Yes, I totally agree. Scenery.
0.5.
Oh, I was super generous. 0.75.
Oh, Jesus. How?
Underground.
There is no scenery.
Underground.
The only
hotel.
thing,
Underground.
the only scenery you saw was at the beginning when he's flying to the fucking facility.
I took it as they had those moments where they were outside on the glacier or whatever that rock was, and I looked at it as it looked pretty. It looked aesthetically modern and minimalistic, and I liked the minimalistic thing. It was kind of nice. It looked like an underground hotel for minimalists. So I was just being super generous.
I couldn't give it more than a 0.5. I was generous with the 0.5. There was nothing. The end of the film, the beginning of the film, and the end of the film. That's when you saw anything remotely looking good for scenery. Other than that, the inside is all you saw. With the dark lighting, the red lighting, there was nothing.
I thought the lab looked cool. I really liked the technology of it. It was cool.
Okay. Still not deserving of more than 0.5. There was nothing to look at.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Nothing was eye-popping.
It was rock or cement walls and glass all the way throughout. There was nothing there.
I mean, you saw his bedroom with all those robots hanging. Duh.
That was just creepy as fuck.
Oh, that was 100% creepy as fuck.
Get rid of the fucking things. Don't keep them in your fucking closet.
Yeah. And don't keep videos of them killing, like destroying their arms because they're scraping the walls. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on. It was not the greatest.
Fucking sucked.
Recommend.
0.5.
0.5. Yay.
We win.
We win. Yeah. No, this film was terrible. Like, I honestly will say that I rather watch anything else sci-fi. Like, this film, the character development was lackluster. The characters didn't feel right. The dialogue was terrible. It was like an awkward teen prom, basically. It just not working well. And overall, the plot is interesting, but it's just not enough to keep me wanting to watch.
It was not a great AI film. Just gonna be completely honest. Not a great film, not a great plot. It's one that I had to watch for the podcast. Let's be honest. If I didn't have to, I would have been turned off. I'm most likely never going to watch it again. But if you're into sci-fi films and looking for something to watch, sure, turn it on. But I'm telling you, after like 20 minutes, you're probably going to turn it off. It's slow as fuck. Be forewarned. If you do watch it, it has a lot of big word speech that makes no fucking sense unless you're smart. Unlike me, I was scratching my fucking head being like, what in God's name are you even saying? Liquid technology that for the brain with synapses and shit. What? A fucking brain is a fucking brain. You can't duplicate that. So I don't know what the fuck he's saying, but like I said, it sounded like just a bunch of shit that was put into a script to make him sound smart. I don't think any of it was real. It could be. I don't know. I'm not in engineering and creating AIs. It's possible. It's real. I don't fucking know, but I didn't understand it. Tangent. Sorry. I'd honestly just skip this one if I were you. Just jump over it. No reason to waste your time. It's 2 hours you're never getting back.
My final score for this dropped quite a bit, a full point to 6.25.
Mine did too, to a 5.5.
Wow. That shows the power of debating about it. It really does bring a perspective on what others see.
Yeah, a whole freaking point. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's crazy to think that we dropped a whole point.
Both of us went down a whole point
Point.
from our original.
Because we both talked about it and we went, wow, we were stupid. Why didn't we think about that?
Yeah, exactly.
So as we wrap up, we're going to talk about next week's episode. Next week, we are talking about the 2014 Disney film Into the Woods. Ben, when I watched this trailer, I remember watching this as a young adult, 18, 19, and it was nothing too spectacular. And as I haven't seen it since, and as what the trailer showed, wasn't really, for me, it wasn't all that eye-popping catchy. It wasn't that great. Recently, I just saw the play, so I'm hoping the film could match the play at least. So I'm giving it a 6.
I love musicals, and I'm looking at this trailer, and it's got an all-star cast. It's got Meryl Streep, Emily Blunt, James Corden, Anna Kendrick, Chris Pine, Johnny Depp. It's got to be good. I enjoyed it when I went and saw it in theaters. I can't quite remember. Been a while. So after rewatching the trailer, I'm going to give it a 7.5.
All right. As we wrap up, I'd like to say thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of Nerd Taku Podcast. If you want to find us, we're on all major podcasting platforms. You can follow us on Instagram and on Threads at nerd_taku_podcast. We're also on YouTube at Kingdom Notes Studios. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and have a great week.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.